This is handy for the Labour Party and Rachel Reeves. Keir Starmer taking centre stage to talk about the coalition of the willing, to detract us from the economic mess he and his Chancellor have created in their own backyard. This afternoon he started saying his message was very clear, then came up with the most amount of convoluted claptrap I've heard for quite some time. He failed to answer any questions. Here he is, being asked a question by someone at ITV.
Thank you, Prime Minister. What you haven't mentioned today is a US security backstop. Have you concluded that Donald Trump isn't prepared to provide a security backstop? And do you think this coalition of the willing can defend Ukraine without the support of the US? And secondly, if I may, you've talked about a full ceasefire agreement. At the moment, President Putin is suggesting he's not willing to agree to a 30-day ceasefire. What hope have you got of getting a long-term lasting peace?
Well, look, firstly, the position on the US hasn't changed. I've been clear that it needs to be done in conjunction with the United States. As I think you know, we are talking to the US on a daily basis. My NSA was over there yesterday, just arrived back this morning. So the position on doing this in conjunction with the United States hasn't changed, and that's why we're having the detailed discussions that we are. On your wider challenge that Putin is saying yes, but we need to get him to yes and get round the table. And I do believe we can apply collective pressure to that end. 2 weeks ago, I was challenged on whether we'd even get as far as we've got now. We have moved forward, and that is good. We now need to move forward.
It just went on like that. Did he answer the question? No. Apart from coming up with the slogan, yes, but, like something out of the Vicky Pollard comedy sketch, yes, but no, but yes. More political posturing, whilst we all feel the pinch of some pretty scary changes, which are looming courtesy of our Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, who has clearly realised that blaming the Tories for the 0.1 percentage fall in GDP over the last quarter and using the £22 billion black hole as an excuse for the disastrous position that we find ourselves in is wearing very thin. 9 months on, they have to be culpable for something, but alas, no. Yesterday, she even tried to blame Donald Trump. She declared the world has changed and we are feeling the consequences. Code for, it's not my fault, Gov.
This government is determined to turn around the poor performance of more than a decade when it comes to growth, and we need to go further and faster in growing our economy, in ensuring that we boost our national security and defence, and reforming our public services. That's why the Prime Minister set out yesterday reforms to regulation. That's why this week we've introduced the Planning and Infrastructure Bill to get Britain building again. But we must go further and faster to boost living standards and grow our economy.
Well, that's true, but seriously, come on, Rachel, the economy is contracting and we are heading for recession because of your terrible anti-growth budget. The effects are already being felt with the VAT on private schools applied mid-year. Very sneaky. Stretched parents won't want to break their children's heart by taking them out of school in the middle of the school year, so they're soldiering on. Over 100 schools will apparently close. This is not good. Farmers are up in arms about an inheritance tax raid that could affect our own food security. And I can't see most pensioners ever voting Labour again. The Renters Reform Bill started under Conservatives will probably be ready in around about July. And then there's the national insurance hike, which hasn't even kicked in, but is already having an impact. Employers are not prepared to hire more staff. And with the new Workers' Right Bill also looming, that's not likely to change. Those with the broadest shoulders, the rich people, they're all leaving. And I haven't even got onto the boats. The cost of that, people arriving via dinghy, is astronomical. The Chancellor is on borrowed time as Number 10 distances themselves from her comments. Julian Jessop from the Institute of Economic Affairs warned that tax hikes and spending cuts in the mini-budget could aggravate a weakness. We have days until the new spring statement, so this, right now, is all a very handy distraction for Rachel. Right, before we get stuck into the debate, here's what else is coming up today. The Prime Minister has issued a statement to the Russian President Vladimir Putin asking him to come to the negotiating table to agree a ceasefire in Ukraine. But will he really listen to Sir Keir Starmer? I've got a poll up on gbnews.com asking, is Sir Keir Starmer helping? or hindering peace? Cast your vote. For the Great British Debate, I'm asking, should migrants be blocked from using the ECHR to avoid deportation? The government is said to be considering whether to restrict illegal migrants from exploiting the European Convention of Human Rights to block their deportation. And in the Pulse, we'll find out how to keep your brain agile and healthy so that you can live up till at least 100 years old. GP and medical writer Dr. Rennie Hunderkamp will be live. That's coming up as ever. Send me your thoughts, post your comments, gbnews.com/your say. Well, I'm joined by Labour activist Chris Worrell. Chris? So, come on, he didn't really answer questions. People were left kind of nonplussed and a bit confused as to what this yes but thing meant. I didn't get much clarity. Am I being unfair?
I think the reality here is what the Labour Party's inherited a sort of weak, bloated economy that was on a diet of mass migration, legalised crime and austerity, and what the Labour Party is putting forward with Rachel Reeves as a fitness guru is sort of fiscal responsibility, inward investment and ability to deport foreign criminals. Now, when we're looking at the 0.1%, that's largely come around from production services, so our steel industry, which has been whacked at the minute by Donald Trump at 25%.
Well, they have closed down some steelworks as well, haven't they, the Labour government, haven't they?
Well, look, the steel industry is coming forward with concerns around energy prices, which they've been hit incredibly hard with as a result of the Ukraine invasion by Russia. And
well, energy prices aren't just hit hard as a result of that as well. Let's not forget net zero. Net zero is one of the main reasons why those prices have gone up too. So you have to consider the fact that we are paying wind farms to switch off, and we are paying the subsidies for renewable energy, so-called renewable energy, and so you have to consider that. That's one of the reasons why we have such...
I disagree, Nana. Look,
it's not whether you disagree or not, it's one of the factors. It's not just because of Ukraine.
Well, the fact of the matter is that the Labour Party is put into quadruple onshore wind. Energy security is the reason and the weakness that the Tories left us in. I haven't seen anything from reform on this.
Wasn't it Tony Blair's government who got rid of nuclear, who said that we won't build any more nuclear...
No, that was Nick Clegg under the Lib Dems when they said it would take 10 years. And I think nuclear is definitely an option. We've talked about small nuclear reactors. Energy security...
But it's not the Tories' fault, is it?
Well, I think the Tories and the Lib Dems were in the coalition at the time when they said that. So the renewable argument is the key to giving us energy security here. Like, if we had some more solar panels, if we do quadruple onshore wind, and we do the small nuclear reactors and expanding that method of energy, then we will be able to get ourselves on a better footing. At the minute, we've been at the whim of the markets, international markets, dictators dictating prices, and until we get peace in Ukraine, that will be a considerable risk going forward. So the renewable argument is one that will help bring energy costs down and reduce the cost of living crisis for
the point
many people.
The monologue is this not quite handy, really, in a way, for Keir Starmer to sit there posturing on the international global stage whilst we are having a dire time in this country? It's a great distraction.
It's not posturing. He's leading the country as the front and centre of the UK contact centre between US and the wider Europe in setting out how we're going to defend and get peace in Ukraine, and that is a leading part of this role, and it's bestowed him with a lot of credit, really, that he's able to step up to do that. And yes,
this is words though. He's just saying stuff, but all he's doing is really sitting on the bench. He can't really do very much.
No, he brought 26 EU leaders around a table within less than a week after the Donald Trump and Zelensky had that little ding dong with JD Vance throwing his toys out the pram. He's taking a leading role in this. There is a cool, calm and collected. It's what the country needs in a time of potential crisis. So we know that with the tariffs, we've got FTSE 100 at record levels at the minute under this Labour government. That's going to take a while to feed through. But the tariffs that Donald Trump and the crash that they're seeing over there with this economic nationalism, which is what the likes of Richard Tice at Reform are pushing, we've seen how terrible that is in the US, and we don't need it here. We need some pragmatic, secure economics that is going to make sure that we're stable and reduce our cost of living crisis.
I bet Putin is quaking in his boots. Thank you very much, Labour activist Chris Worrell. Good, always a pleasure to talk to you.